Greetings, Scorpio and Scorpio rising. This is your Western forecast for March 2025. It's a powerful month of transformation, but it's not time to be acting on it. It is time to do a lot of self-discovery and doing the planning. The reason I'm saying all of this month, we're having two eclipses. A full moon lunar eclipse on the 13th can indicate and point to major endings. It certainly tests relationships. 2 weeks later, on the 29th of March, is a new moon solar eclipse that brings in new beginnings. But the eclipses repeat the same cycle every 19 years. And this solar eclipse on the 29th is in Aries. And Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Aries wants to take the lead, be number one, be bold, be aggressive, be ambitious. It's a fire sign, so you get all fired up and enthusiastic. This is for the whole world. However, this solar eclipse will impact your individual horoscope. Now, we're also going to have Venus and Mercury retrograde. So we got the two eclipses and we got these two personal planets retrograde. The retrograde is a time of reevaluating and second guessing, re-editing. Venus is retrograding in Aries from March the 1st, and it's going to remain retrograde until April the 11th. So it's the first month till the 27th, it's retrograding in the 6th house. Then it retrogrades out of Aries into Pisces on March the 27th into the 5th house. So more on that later. But with the Venus in retrograde in the 6th house, the 6th house can be dealing with your day-to-day job routine, your job skills, employees. And with Venus in retrograde, maybe you're having co-worker problems because of Venus is that relational planet. But you could also be reevaluating your relationships, but it could be more with coworkers. Except that come the 27th of March, as Venus remains retrograde, it's leaving the 6th house of work and going into the 5th house. The 5th house now is being tested. 5th house deals with romance, more love affairs as opposed to a long-term marriage. Or the 5th house can deal with children. Now the 5th house also deals with creative expression, creative outlet and entertainment. And Venus is the planet of creativity. So that Venus is retrograde, you may be reevaluating your creative path until it starts to move forwards and you have more clarity on March or on April the 11th. Now, Mercury is decision making. It retrogrades several times a year. It's often just a time to slow down and stop and rethink, reevaluate where you've come from. Often with Mercury in retrograde, there's delays, there's endings, there's misunderstandings. You just have to be more cautious that you're not making mistakes or making sure you heard correctly what you thought you heard, because there's miscommunications with Mercury retrograde from March the 14th till April the 7th. But it's also going to be in your 6th house of work and health matters. But on the 29th, 2 days after Venus moves into Pisces, into the 5th house, discerning Mercury goes into Pisces in your 5th house on March the 29th until April the 7th. So there's still all this re-evaluating from the 6th house to the 5th house. But the solar eclipse is in the 6th house. Once every 19 years. And being in Aries is always just kind of marks bold new beginnings. But it's not yet time to really act on new beginnings because of the retrogrades. It's more of a time of a reset. So with this solar eclipse in Aries, first time in 19 years, it is putting a spotlight on 6th house matters, and it could last a good 6 months up to a year. So the 6th house, your daily routine, your work, and health matters are being restructured. This is a powerful time to start new habits, improve well-being, or change careers. Prioritize balance and well-being for long-term success. The 6th house could be getting a new job or learning new job skills, which could, with an eclipse, which is so powerful and intense, could certainly indicate a major career change. But this could also be that with the 6th house outside of the job and your job skills and coworkers, this could all be on changing your diet, health matters, a lot of self-improvement. And if we stay on that track, then the Venus and the Mercury is going into the 5th. And the 5th is playful, it's children, it's romance, and the 5th house is sports and recreational activities. So all that 6th house of getting your body in shape, getting stronger and healthier. So you might be wanting to be more romantic, more playful, or to have children. You could also be getting pregnant if you're a Scorpio or Scorpio rising, because then that would impact your physical body and all the hormonal changes. But then at first, it's like the body is going through all these changes, and then the Mercury and Venus goes into the 5th house of children. Now, there's some clues there, because the first 3 weeks of every March, the sun's in Pisces. Well, Pisces is a water sign, compatible with Scorpio, a water sign. But Pisces is 5 signs past Scorpio. So your attention would have been drawn to 5th house matters the first 3 weeks of March. Now that could be that you might have been thinking, I want to have a baby, I want more romance, I want more recreational activities and sports and fun and games. So all that physical activity. So you might have been thinking your focus might have been on these 5th house issues, but then that could have been triggering the retrogrades in the 6th house of how to get healthier or focus on healthcare if you do get pregnant, or getting healthier to think about getting pregnant, or that 5th house of children. Or sports, the 5th house, when you have babies, they're playful, they're into fun and games. And so that's where we're looking for recreational activities and sports, being like your inner child coming out. And so you might start to really think about, with the sun in Pisces, the first 3 weeks, that you need to get stronger, healthier, maybe lose weight, so you can be more active with sports or recreational activities. You might have been thinking in the first part of March that you would like more romance in your life. Or you could certainly be in a relationship, but how do I get the romance back into the existing relationships? And maybe rethinking your your energy, your health, your weight, to do all that kind of revising so you could get more focused on the 5th house. Now, by combining the solar eclipse in the 6th house, bringing in the 5th house energies, you could, the 6th house could be learning new job skills. It's getting focused on learning to go in a new career. And then the clues could be the 5th house. Maybe you want to, with the 5th house, be a career or job that involves children, or in the arts, in entertainment or sports. That's the 5th house. On a completely different level, the 5th house of fun and games, but games goes into gambling. It's a game. And so the 5th house financially is where we look to for sports. And so you could be wanting to learn, new techniques so you could, be better at sports. But I think there's a major emphasis on self-improvement and getting healthier so you could enjoy these different 5th house matters. Maybe on just a more simple, basic level, that you're deciding from the end of February, when the sun went into Pisces in these first 3 weeks of March, that you want to go on a vacation to the beach, or you want to start organizing a big party. That's the 5th house. Maybe there's a wedding for your son or daughter, as an example. And then then with the 6th house, it's all this details and busyness to get ready. But you might be thinking, I got to get my body in shape if there's going to be all this going on vacation and wining and dining and dancing. So this is how you can bring in these two powerful energies. Now, the lunar eclipse is on the 13th. A lunar eclipse is a full moon on steroids. A regular full moon reveals, it's emotional, it tests relationships, but unless it's making a direct impact on your chart, you don't see any, it doesn't really last for more than a day or two. But with a lunar eclipse, it's going to last at least 2 weeks, and if it's impacting your chart, it could last a month or longer. This full moon lunar eclipse is in your 11th house. So it's on the 13th, but it could be unfolding strong through those last 2 weeks up until the new moon solar eclipse on the 29th. And the lunar eclipse is about letting go. A lot of adjustments, testing relationships. The 11th can mean, on a more personal level, friendships. And friendships might be tested. There might be some letting go. The 11th house can also be with support groups, clubs, community, organizations, where there's a lot of friendly socializing going on. So individually, it could be a friend, or it could be if you belong to a club, an organization, and it's filled with friendly people that you socialize with. And that lunar eclipse could be putting a real spotlight on making changes with letting go of a club, community, group that no longer supports you, or a friendship that is no longer supportive. And that could all be part of then these last days of March going into April, when the social Venus and the discerning Mercury goes into the 5th house, that 5th house is all this playfulness and, in sports and romance and vacations. So maybe you're wanting to start hanging out with friends that are into more sports or dancing or the arts. That's also the 5th house. Or making a big change in an organization, like ending one organization and joining another group that's more with 5th house matters, which could be entertainment, sports, children, creativity. So, a lot of big, exciting changes, but an eclipse takes at least 30 days to 60 days to start revealing where it's taking you. And with that eclipse, with the retrogrades, you're having 2 retrogrades during the eclipse. It's more of a resetting, not yet acting, and not time to start acting till the middle of April. And then it may even take a couple of more weeks to start seeing the results of you taking action. But there's a big shift of consciousness where you're planting some seeds of new beginnings in March. But I wouldn't be making important decisions or taking actions until the middle of April. I want to thank you for watching. If you like information on how to book an astrology reading or to check out my 2-question offer, visit my website at gardino.co, that's .co. Until next month, be safe and well.